Hello and welcome. Welcome to the third video in this short series that I'm doing about charting a path to freedom through a fulfilling career in wellness coaching. Thank you so much for all the fabulous comments and questions that came in after video number 2. I am so excited to be hearing from so many of you. I love hearing about all of you who've had a light bulb moment during my last video and are actually putting the wheels in motion. So awesome. Now, if you are new to me, I'm Kim Foster. I'm an MD turned wellness coach and business mentor for health and wellness entrepreneurs. Now, just a super brief recap. In the first video of this mini series, we talked about freedom. I talked about how important freedom has always been to me personally, and I shared the story about when I realized that I had given away my freedom through my career choice and when I committed to changing that. And I talked about the fact that it is my belief that one of the best ways to achieve freedom for yourself, and it's available to you if you really want it, is to create an online coaching business. Then in the next video, I walked you through what I call a wellness coach spark launch. This is how you can actually get started as a wellness coach this week if you want to, and certainly launch your business within 30 days and start making money and making an impact, which is so awesome. And like I said, I'm super excited because it sounds like many of you are actually going to take that framework and run with it. And so in about 30 days from now, I'm expecting to hear back from a bunch of you, and I'm really looking forward to getting a lot of exciting updates. So I want to answer just a couple of questions that I have been asked a few times in the past few days. The first question is, do I need to have a big social media following? Would it be smart, to build a community on Instagram first and then launch to that community? And my answer to that is to ask you with love, why are you waiting? I totally get the impulse to build a following and build an audience and then launch, but in my experience, a lot of the time, this need to wait, it's just a form of procrastination. Because as I talked about in my previous video, you don't actually need a big audience or a big following to get started. And a lot of the time, there's this fear driving that need to wait. Because of course, if you wait, you're not putting yourself out there. You're not opening yourself up to rejection. And I completely get that. Nobody wants to be vulnerable, but you need to recognize it for what it is. You need to build a huge following first before you launch anything. Is that just your fear holding you back? Anyway, something to consider. The next question that I have been asked several times is along the lines of this. I'm worried about coming across as an amateur. Shouldn't I have a website first? So here's my answer to that. Websites take a lot of time and effort. Very briefly, you do not need to have a website first. Now, if you've got lots of time at your disposal or a few $1,000s to pay a designer to build you a website, then sure, but I should warn you, even after it's designed, you will probably need and want to change it, because in the beginning, you don't even know what to put on your website. If you don't have an offer, a program, client testimonials, your positioning, all that stuff, you're gonna have to make decisions on all of those things. And then you may find that it doesn't really make sense 6 months later, or you've changed your mind. Start now and build the website later. Okay, another question that I get asked is, how much time does it take to put together a spark launch? So one of the examples that I gave you in the previous video was one of my clients who put together a 6-week program helping moms with stress. And here's how long it took her to put together her spark launch. About 45 minutes. It was the span of a discovery call. She was on a call with a prospect, totally stressed out mom, and she realized that she could absolutely help this woman, and on the fly, she proposed 6 weeks of de-stressing, and suddenly a new offer was born. She then emailed everybody that she knew afterward, and she got 2 more people signing up straight out of that. And then 1 more person referred to her. 4 clients, just like that, 45 minutes to create. Okay, so I have given you some nuts and bolts info about how to get going with your starter wellness coaching business, how to put everything into motion with your pilot offer, or what I call the wellness coaching spark launch. But now let's take a step back a bit and just look at the big picture. Let's explore what's really possible here. The spark launch is just the beginning. It's the very first step on this pathway, but it's always a good idea to have a vision of the end game, of the destination. And it makes it makes sense to get this vision before you take your first step. It's kind of like taking a road trip. Of course, you can just jump in the car and start driving and have no idea where you're going to end up, and that can definitely be fun. But to me, it's so much better to know where you're heading, to have that destination in mind. Then you get to enjoy the journey, but you also get to have that sense of purpose as you keep your destination clearly in mind and you're watching yourself get closer and closer. So what are we talking about here? What is the destination? Becoming a wellness coach can, of course, start out as a second stream of income. It can be a side hustle or a side gig, something that you do part-time while you are still keeping your day job. That's what I did, and that's what most of my clients and students have done too. Because it really is something that you can begin to work on during your spare time, in the evenings, the weekends, or maybe early mornings. If you've got kids, you can get up before they get up or before you have to go to your day job. You know, wherever you can create those little wedges of time. When I started, I was conducting discovery calls with potential clients in my car on my lunch break. I would slip out from the clinic, do a call in my car, and then go back to work. I am not saying that that was ideal, but it worked. And it's how I started to grow my coaching practice. But then what's possible after that? Because let's face it, that is not a sustainable pace. My clients and students at the beginning of their business journey, there's a fair bit of hustle and squeezing things in to get everything off the ground, to get liftoff. But you have to get out of that phase in an efficient manner, or else you're completely going to burn out. And the best way to do that is to learn everything that you need to know up front and then put your business together with a solid, properly built foundation. So, what does a thriving wellness coaching business look like? What does success look like? Well, I described my own reality in the first video in this series. I'm completely free and I own my own day. I walk my youngest son to school. My oldest is in high school now, so he walks himself. And then I go for my run, and then I head back home to work in my home office, seeing clients, building programs, all those kinds of things. It's absolutely amazing, and I want it for you too. I'm also free to travel, and I can work from wherever we are. That was before the pandemic, of course. It's going to be the situation again. But it's amazing to know that I can go wherever I like. I don't have to get permission from a boss to take a vacation or how long that vacation can be. So that is my reality. But I also want to give you some examples of other women's realities, people that I have coached and mentored and trained. So what is their reality like as a wellness coach? So let me tell you about one of my clients, Jane. She had a career as a broadcast journalist, and she was talented and good at her job, but she was super stressed and dealing with some health issues like major gut problems and having to take medication that was interfering with her ability to get pregnant. So she totally overhauled her own well-being. She was able to get pregnant finally, and then because this journey was so life-changing for her, she decided to become a wellness coach herself and help other women. Now, fast forward to today, Jane runs a thriving wellness coaching business full time. She has more clients than she can handle. In fact, and one of the things that we have been working on together is scaling her into a group coaching model. She's been featured on multiple media outlets, including TV appearances on network shows and being featured on Goop and in Glamour magazine. And she's making an incredible impact in the world, helping women to make over their gut health and their well-being overall. Plus, she has created so much more balance for herself and her family. In fact, when we were scheduling some of our recent coaching calls together, one time of day that was always out for her was between 2 and 3 p.m. because that was when she would be picking up her 9-year-old daughter from school every day. And that's something that she certainly couldn't do in her previous career where she was not in control. And that's what I'm talking about. When it's your own business, you get to call the shots. You get to decide what is non-negotiable and what your true priorities are. There is no substitute for that, and you deserve that too. So let me tell you about another client of mine. Mayuko was trapped in a hospital position in LA, totally unfulfilled by her job as a dietitian for inpatients. She longed for fulfillment and that sense of meaning, and over the years she had actually come to believe in a much more spiritual approach to nutrition than the rigid, inflexible confines of what she'd been trained to do as a registered dietitian. She had experienced the power of coaching, and she had discovered it really like organically, because she found that patients felt a lot better when she just sat with them and listened to them. And this made much more of an impact than any formulaic meal plan that she would put together for them. She was also a yoga instructor, and she really wanted to weave those principles into her work. She just didn't know how to put it all together. So through working with me, she created her first wellness coaching program. It was a program to help women adopt an intuitive eating approach, and she was able to really quickly build her business and begin working with clients as a coach. Fast forward to now, Mayuko has left her hospital job for good, and she launches her program, Food Liberation, several times a year. It consistently fills and sells out, and her business is entirely online. And best of all, Mayuko has just fulfilled a lifelong dream. Now, living in LA was fun for her, and it's a great city, but Mayuko had always had a lifelong dream of relocating to her ancestral home of Japan, and she did just that a few months ago. She left LA and she has moved to a beautiful, really serene part of the Japanese countryside, where she runs her coaching business, continues to work with her clients all over the world, and her entire lifestyle now reflects all of her core values. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I have to tell you, these stories are just a sampling. I have so many more like them, but I don't want this video to go on for the next hour. So at this point, you may be wondering how to make these fantasy stories your own. How can you create your own version of a dream lifestyle? A lifestyle where you own your own day, you are your own boss, and you are the go-to expert in your chosen field of wellness. People actually look to you for help, and you're making a difference in their lives. And you have created an incredibly fulfilling life that is totally aligned with everything that's important to you. And whether that's more time with your kids, or more travel, or relocating completely to a place that you've always wanted to live, whatever it is. And the beauty is that you get to decide. That's what true freedom means. And that's what I am all about helping women create. It's my mission, in fact. And it may feel impossible to a certain degree, even though you've heard my story and the stories of other women who were able to create their dream life. But you may be thinking you don't know how to make it happen for you. How do you actually step into a career like this? How do you become a wellness coach and build a successful business? What does it take? And I've got good news. That is exactly what I am going to be talking about in the very next video I have for you. I know that this was only meant to be a 3-video series, but I've got a bonus video for you that you are going to be able to watch in just 2 days' time. And in that video, I'm going to be talking about the offer I have for you. It's the exact way that you can become a successful, masterful wellness coach and claim this career for yourself and build a thriving business that supports your dreams of freedom from the unfulfilling day job that you feel stuck in right now. I want you to create the life you truly want without having to figure it all out on your own, because that is the hard way and it's really unnecessary. I've got all the answers for you coming up in the next video, and you're going to want to keep an eye out for the email that gives you the link to that video. And as a heads up, you don't want to delay opening that email when you get it, because this is actually a limited time offer. It's not going to be available for long, so I recommend watching that video right away so you don't miss out. Okay, that is a wrap for today. And now, as always, I would love to hear from you. Let me know what came up for you after watching this video. What are your thoughts and your questions? Anything that you would like to talk to me about, let me know. Head over to Instagram. You can find me at Dr. Kim Foster and tag me in a post, or message me, or find me on Facebook at Dr. Kim Foster, and I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you again very soon.